day to all of you. Today we're going to continue our lesson in Fundamentals of Accounting Part 2, the accounting for partnership, specifically accounting for partnership liquidation. Going back with our previous discussion before the lockdown due to COVID-19 pandemic, we have discussed the formation of partnership, its operation, and dissolution. In the formation of the partnership, the partner contributed cash, property, and industry to formally form and start the business. After the formation, they officially go into operation of their business. In operating business, whether it is a single proprietorship or partnership or a corporation as well, their objective is to earn profit. After a month, a year of operation, they can be able to determine whether there is profit or loss. So from our previous topic, you learn how to divide the profits and losses among the partners based on the different methods used in dividing the profits or loss. Since one of the characteristics of partnership business is its limited life, it can be dissolved at any time. When one of the partner withdraw his or her contribution from the partnership, or if there is another partner who joined the partnership by purchase of the interests of the existing partner, whether in partial or full purchase of the interest, or invested cash or non-cash asset to become a partner of the existing partnership, the partnership is said to be dissolved. And in our topic, partnership dissolution, you have learned how to account for the partnership dissolution. So when the problem can no longer, when the partners can no longer continue their partnership business and decided to return all the assets contributed to each partner, accounting for liquidation comes in. So the accounting for partnership liquidation, as our topic for today, have enumerated different learning objectives. Of course, from this topic, these are our learning objectives. First is to define the liquidation, distinguish dissolution from liquidation. You have to differentiate what's the difference between the dissolution from liquidation. Next is understand and apply the rules in settling accounts after dissolution. Explain the concept of the right of offset. So by and by, when we solve the problem, you can be able to understand deeper about the concept of right of offset. Detail the treatment of capital deficiency. Differentiate lump sum method from installment method of liquidation. Show the procedures in lump sum liquidation. Prepare a statement of liquidation. Prepare entries for lump sum liquidation. Another is to state the procedures in installment liquidation. Because as we continue to with our discussion, you will learn that we have two methods of liquidation, the lump sum and the installment method. Next is determine cash distribution to partners using the schedule of safe payments or cash priority program. Prepare a statement of liquidation for the installment. And the last one is to prepare entries for installment liquidation. So first, we have to define what liquidation is. Okay, so liquidation is of a partnership is the winding up its business activities characterized by sale of all non-cash assets, settlement of all liabilities, in distribution of the remaining cash to the partner. So pag sinabing liquidation, ito yung ayawan na, wala na talagang gusto sa mga partner to continue the business operation. So that was the time that they have to convert all the non-cash asset into cash so that they can be able to divide whatever the non-cash assets, no, ay mahati-hati nila. Otherwise, kung hindi natin ito ibibenta, paano natin sila hahatiin kung hindi sila cash? And once na ibinenta natin yon, ibig sabihin nun, ito yung tinatawag nating realization. So that realization, it means conversion of non-cash assets into cash. So when we convert the non-cash assets into cash, sometimes the realization, the cost of selling the non-cash asset is below the total value. So, ang nangyayari kapag ibinenta natin ng mas mababa yung non-cash asset kesa sa book value niya, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na loss on realization. And because of that loss on realization, hinahati-hati natin yung loss na yan with the partner. So kapag ang capital ng partner is not enough to cover the loss on the realization, dito pumapasok ang pagkakaroon nila ng capital deficiency. So when we say capital deficiency, that is the excess of a partner's share in losses over the partner's capital credit balance. So that deficiency will certainly affect the partner's interest, the sum of his capital and loan accounts in the partnership. So these are the rules in setting accounts after dissolution. So for the assets of the partnership, ano-ano ba yung mga asset na meron ang partnership? Una, we have this partnership property. Pangalawa is the additional contribution of the partners needed for the payment of all liabilities. So those are the assets of the partnership. So the order of preference, the assets of a partnership shall be applied in the following orders. First, those owing to outside creditors. Kasi kapag nagli-liquidate tayo, siyempre kailangan, unang-una na kailangan nating i-consider is to pay our outside creditors. Kailangan magbayad muna sa mga pinagkakautangan ng partnership. So sila yung may preferential rights over the assets of the partnership. And second, those owing to inside creditors in the form of loans or advances for business expenses by the partners. Because there are times that, for example, the partnership business, they don't have cash available at mayroong kailangang bayaran ang partnership business nila or meron silang pinagkakautangan, but for the time being, the partnership business, they don't have available cash. So ang ginagawa, yung ibang partner, although it is not considered as a form of additional investment, but rather, pinapautang ng partner ang partnership na yun muna yung pangbabayad or nagbibigay sila ng cash advance sa partnership or para maipangbayad sa mga, sabi natin meron silang mga pinurchase, no? So, ito ay nagiging payable, nagiging liability ng partnership business. In the personal capacity of the partner na nagpautang, meron siyang receivable from the partnership. Nagbigay siya ng pera, pinautang niya, pero hindi ito nakakadagdag sa kanyang capital because it is not considered as capital or additional investment or additional contribution. But rather, this is just a advances for business expenses made by the partner na kapag dumating yung time, babayaran din siya. So kapag nagli-liquidate na, itong pautang ng partner na ito yung sumusunod sa preference na dapat mabayaran muna. And then third, those owing to the partners with respect to their capital contribution. So after na nabayaran na yung mga outside creditor, and then yung pangalawa, yung mga loans or pinautang ng partners sa partnership, na settle na sila, and that was the only time that the remaining asset or the remaining cash of the partnership dito ngayon na magkakaroon ng pagbabalik ng capital doon sa mga contribution nila, no? Kung hindi pa siya nag-negative or hindi pa nagkaroon ng deficiency or capital deficit by reason of the realization of non-cash asset. And lastly, those owing to the partners with respect to their share of the profit. Because sometimes the available cash is more than the capital contribution pa na dapat ibalik. So any excess can be considered as a share ng partners sa profit. And it is ibibigay pa rin ito sa kanila. It is be divided based on the profit and loss sharing ratio. So the second preference in the order of preferences as enumerated from the previous slide, the partners with the loan account, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, as the option to exercise his right of offset. So the privilege is the legal right of a partner to apply part or all of his loan account balance against the capital deficiency resulting from losses in the realization of the partnership asset. So for example, because of the loss on realization, it resulted to a capital deficiency. At dahil kung si partner A, for example, ay may pautang siya sa partnership nila, pero dahil sa loss, nag-negative siya sa kanyang capital, but because meron siyang pautang, that pautang can be applied to the capital deficit niya. So instead of contributing additional cash or giving additional cash to cover the capital deficiency of the deficit part na nagkaroon ng deficiency na partner, so i-apply na lang yung kanyang cash advance that previously pinahiram niya sa partnership. Okay. So, mas makikita natin yan kapag nagkaroon na tayo ng illustration when we solve the problem for liquidation. So, this illustration, no, let's assume this illustration as presented here. Sing Shaolin, Li Mingho, and Ji Changwok are partners in a prawn business. So initially, Sing Shaolin contributed 300,000. Li Mingho contributed 200,000 and Ji Changwok 100,000. On the date of dissolution, the remaining asset of the partnership amounted to 1 million. So that is the remaining asset. Let us assume that 1 million is a cash, no? So the partnership has outstanding obligation with Yunbin 140,000 and Gungyo 100,000, and loans payable to Sing Shaolin for 40,000. The accounts of Sing Shaolin, Li Minho, and Ji Changwok shall be settled as follows. So paano natin babayaran? Paano natin ibabalik yung 1 million? So this is the summary of the given problem. So the total asset, as I have mentioned, is 1 million. Liabilities and partners capital. So we have Yunbin and Gunyo. Si Yunbin, we have 140,000. Gunyo is 100. So they are considered as our outside creditor. Loan Sing Shaolin, so we have this 40,000. Siya yung inside creditor. Bakit? Kasi isa siya sa partner. And it so happened na meron siyang pinautang sa partnership na 40,000. Now, as far as the partner's capital is concerned, Sing Shaolin, capital is 300,000, Li Minho is 200, and Ji Changwok is 100,000. So, if you have 1 million, how are you going to distribute that? Paano tayo magbabayad? So, following the order of preference sa pagbabayad, no, pag-settle ng obligation, first, as I have said, si Yunbin, okay, si Yunbin kanina, si Gongyo is our outside creditor. So, ibig sabihin, sila yung una nating babayaran. So, they shall be paid in the total amount of 240,000. So, if we have 1 million, no, meron tayong 1 million, bayad natin yung 240,000, consists of, saan ang galing yun? Kay Yungbin, you have this 140, Gongyo is 100. So, that is why we have a total of 240,000. So, that 1 million asset, natin ang 240,000, may natira tayong 760. So, from that 760, tayo dun sa second preference. Second, dahil meron tayong inside creditor na si Shaolin, no? One of the partner in the partnership business, since he is an inside creditor, it shall be paid his loan sa partnership. Mauna siya. So, mayroon tayong 40,000. So kanina we have 760 as a remaining cash or remaining asset after the payment of 240,000 to our outside creditors. So kung may 760, bayaran natin sa pangalawa yung loan natin, loan ng partnership kay Sing Shaolin na 40. So may matitira tayong 720,000. Okay, so na-settle na natin ang outside creditor. And for the second, na-settle natin ang ating inside creditor. And the third, and following the order of preference in settling the obligation sa liquidation process. So, pangatlo, the total contribution of the partner, ibabalik na natin sa kanila. Now, going back with the summary of the illustration, as you can see, Sing Shaolin, ang 300 as initial, Minho capital is 200, hindi siyang walking capital of 100,000. So, kung ito-total natin yan, we have a total of 600,000. So, take note from number 2, when we settle the inside creditor, we have remaining 720,000. Tama. So, sa pangatlo, babayaran natin ang initial capital for a total of 600,000. 720 less the 600,000, we still have a balance of our asset amounting to 120,000. So, may natitira pa tayong 120,000. Paano po yung 120,000 na yun? Ano po mangyayari doon? So, of course, the balance of 120,000 shall be distributed to the partners in the ratio of their capital contribution. Since there was no mention of an agreement governing the division of profits or losses, walang nabanggit doon sa ating illustration, therefore, we will be going to use the ratio of their capital contribution. And therefore, Sing Shaolin shall be entitled to 3/6 of 120,000 or 60,000. While Li Minho, that is 2/6 or 40,000. And Ji Changwo, that is 1/6 or 20,000. So, this is the supporting computation in the distribution of remaining assets of 120,000 after the distribution of initial capital. So, as you can see, the initial capital is presented para doon sa tatlo, si Xianglin, Li Mingho, Ji Changwo, no? How do we get the ratio? So, kung we have a total capital of 600,000, so to get the ratio, that is for Sing Shaolin, 300/600 times 120. So, pinaikli na lang natin. So, kinuha na lang natin yung unang number. 3/6, 2/6, and 1/6. But actually yan, kung gusto nyo na kumpleto at isusulat nyo lahat, no? That is 300/600 times 120,000 is equal to 60,000. That is the total share of Sing Shaolin sa remaining assets of 120,000. And then, ganun din yung gagawin ninyo kay Li Mingho and Ji Changwo when you determine the ratio of their capital contribution and multiply it with the remaining asset in order for you to determine yung share nila sa remaining assets of 120,000. But if the problem gives you the ratio or the percentage and how they're going to divide it, of course, yun ang inyong gagamitin. We just apply this, didetermine natin ang ratio ng kanilang capital contribution if the problem is silent, kung ano ang kanilang magiging share. Kasi iyon ang talagang general rule. If the problem is silent, regarding the profit and loss sharing ratio, use the ratio of their capital contribution. So, kung ano yung available na makikita ninyo, that is what you're going to use in deciding whether it is a loss or... So, now for insufficient partnership assets, when the partnership assets are insufficient to settle all outside liabilities, the partner should make additional contribution in the partnership. So any partner who contributed in the excess of his share in this liability has a right to collect the supposed additional contribution from the other partner. So this is our illustration. Okay, assuming the previous illustrations that we have, the outstanding obligation of the partnership, all accruing to outside creditors, amounted to 1,120,000. Diba, the partnership asset is only 1 million. Now, kung ang obligation mo, outside creditor is 1,120,000, and you only have 1 million. So, it is not sufficient to pay the obligation. Ibig sabihin, yung cash mo, wala ka na nga makukuha kung ikaw yung partner. Kulang pa kayo ng 120,000 kasi ang pinagkakautangan sa outside creditor is 1,100,000. So, kulang ka ng 120,000 yung partnership. So, it is not actually sufficient, no? Hindi siya to fully settle the liabilities. So, the unpaid balance will be 120. Therefore, the partner should contribute sufficient asset to cover the deficiency or yung loss na yon, no? In the absence of an agreement, again, the basis of the additional contribution shall be the ratio of their capital contribution. So, kaya kung titingnan natin, additional contribution to be made by the partner ng, syempre, ang bibigay ni Sing Shaolin is 60, si Limin is 40, si Ji Changwok is 20,000. These contributions will be used to settle the remaining liabilities of 120,000. Take note, one of the characteristic of a partnership business, it's yung limited, yung unlimited yung kanyang liability. So, di ba, pwede silang singilin pag up to the extent of personal property. So, kailangan nilang magbigay ng additional na 120,000. But, in the event that Ji Chang-wook paid the full amount of 120,000, for example, during that time, si Sing Shaolin, si Lee Min-ho, wala silang naibigay, no, na additional contribution because they are considered as insolvent partner. So, si Ji Chang-wook, binayaran niya lahat yung 120,000. So, but he will have the right to recover the amount that he has paid in excess of his share of the liability from Sing Shaolin, that's 60,000, and from Lee Min-ho, 40,000. Kasi as you can see, si Ji Chang-wook, only 20,000 lang ang kanyang share. Pero dahil binayaran niya muna yung 120,000 again, ibig sabihin lang nun, inabunuhan niya muna yon. Pero, dahil na-settle na yung outside creditor, of course, yung dalawang partner who happens to be insolvent dun sa time na nagbayad sila, ay kailangan nilang bayaran naman si Ji Chang-wook. Kasi may karapatan siyang singilin silang dalawa. Kasi sobra yung kanyang binayaran dun sa kanyang share, no? Doon sa loss or dun sa outside creditor na dapat nilang babayaran. So, distribution of separate properties of an insolvent partner. Kasi nabanggit natin kanina, based on our example, na if Ji Chang-wook na-shoulder niya muna yung 120,000, kung inabunuhan niya, di ba nabanggit natin na it is possible na yung dalawang partner is considered to be insolvent. So, insolvent na yan. No? If a partner is insolvent, his personal property shall be distributed as follows. Kasi pag sinabi nating insolvent sila, kulang na yung kanilang personal asset. Now, if you're going to compare the personal assets with their personal creditors and the partnership creditor, sino naman yung may preferred doon? Kunyari is, meron si Ji Chang-wook, sabihin natin, no? As additional example. Kunyari is meron siyang 200,000. No? And that 200,000 is the personal asset of Ji Chang-wook. But meron siyang personal creditor. O meron siyang personal creditor na 200,000 and then 190,000 ang kanyang personal creditor. So, 10,000 na lang yung natitira niya na free na personal assets niya. So, kung ipa-follow natin, paano ang distribution ng kanyang personal properties, no? So, ito yon yung first, those owing to separate creditors. So, if you have the personal property, of course, yung separate creditor mo or personal creditor mo ang may preferential rights over your personal assets. The partnership creditors cannot go after sa personal asset na siya muna yung maunang bayaran. No? So, i-apply muna yon para doon sa personal creditor ng partner. And second, those owing to partnership creditors. So, doon pa lang, pangalawa pa lang siya. Na kapag may natira, yun yung pwede niyang kuhanin or ipangbayad sa kanya. And lastly, those owing to the partners by way of additional contributions when the asset of the partnership were insufficient to settle all the obligation. So, ito yung ating illustration para makita nyo na mas klaro. So, the liability to partnership creditors is 20. Diba kanina sabi nga natin si Ji Chang-wook. And then, let us assume that the personal liability niya, the personal creditor is 80,000. Pero ang personal asset niya is only 90. Ang share niya doon sa loss of 120,000 is 20,000. Is on the ratio of their capital contribution. Since ang personal asset niya is only 90,000 at may personal liability siya to personal creditors of 80, siyempre ang may preferred doon yung personal creditor. From 90,000, bayaran muna si 80,000. Kasi yung rule, distribution of separate properties of insolvent partner based on the order priority of distribution. Again, creditors muna 80 and the partnership creditors ang 10,000 na natitira from a total personal assets of 90,000. So, this is in consonance with the rule that separate creditors are prepared over partnership creditors as regard to separate properties of a partner. So, the procedures in liquidation after the adjustment and closing of books will be dependent on the above rule. It will be advisable to have a mastery of these principles to be able to fully understand the liquidation of partnership. So the use of a statement of liquidation will greatly aid the liquidation partner summarize the events and transactions associated with the liquidation of the partnership. Kaya kailangan ma-master ninyo, no, yung rule na mga nabanggit, yung mga nauna natin na kailangan sundin kapag magli-liquidate tayo. Because from that ruling na na-identified, okay, kasi may mga pagkakasunod-sunod sila, diyan din nakabase ang magiging entries natin to close the book. Because once na nag-liquidate na, of course, mawawala na yung kanilang business operation, everything na lahat ng account title ay kailangan nating isarado. So, kaya dapat sunod-sunod ang mga entries niya. So, the methods of partnership liquidation, as I have mentioned kanina dun sa learning objectives, no? The following methods may be used when a partnership is liquidated. We have first, lump sum method. So, under this method, all non-cash assets are realized and the related gains or losses distributed and all liabilities are paid before a single final cash distribution is made to the partner. So, ito yung actually simple na method ng liquidation. Bakit? Kasi kagandahan nito, lahat ng asset or non-cash assets ay naibenta mo at naging cash. Kaya napakadali niya para hatiin. So, ibig sabihin, there is a one-time realization of non-cash assets. So, lahat sila na-realize into cash and the related gains or loss, mas na-distribute na siya kaagad doon sa mga partner. So, the other method is the installment method. So, under this method naman, the realization of non-cash assets is accomplished over an extended period of time. So, ito yung mga non-cash asset na hindi nabenta kaagad. So, pwedeng first month ng liquidation, nabenta yung equipment nila, no? On the second month, ang nabenta naman, furniture and fixtures, mga ganyan, no? So, when cash is available, creditors may be partially or fully paid. Kung enough yung cash na available, pwedeng babayaran lahat yung liabilities. Pero kung hindi naman enough yung cash, of course, maghihintay pa ng magkaroon uli ng pagbibenta ng non-cash asset. And then, partial ang pagbabayad din sa mga creditor. Of course, following the order of liquidity at settlement ng mga accounts, no? Kung installment yan, susundin pa rin natin kung sino yung may preferential rights. Babayaran pa rin natin munang mauna lahat ang mga outside creditors. So hanggat hindi pa natin nasisettle yung mga outside creditors, hindi tayo pwedeng kumuha at magbalik ng capital sa mga nag-contribute na partner. Until such time na masettle lahat ng obligation, whether it is an obligation or liabilities with the outside creditors, and pangalawa sa inside creditor at kung may matitira pa, yun lang yung time na magkakaroon ng return ng capital contribution ng mga partner. So, ipa-follow pa natin na rin pa rin natin yan, whether it is installment method ang liquidation. So, any excess may be distributed to the partners in accordance with program of safe payments or a cash priority program. So, when we have the illustration or illustrative problem for installment method of liquidation, you will learn how to prepare the schedule of safe payments and the cash priority program. From this, you can be able to determine in advance kung sino ang unang makakakuha sa mga partner or makaka-receive at magkano yung kanilang mauunang ma-receive. By preparing the schedule of safe payments and the cash priority program in advance, alam mo na kung isa ka sa partner, kung may makukuha ka pa ba o wala na. So this process persists until all the non-cash assets are sold. Kaya kung titingnan natin yung installment method, hangga't hindi na nare-realize lahat ng asset, tuloy-tuloy yung paggawa mo ng liquidation statement. Dinudugtungan mo. So, meron kang liquidation ng, let's say, yung unang month, and then gawa ka na naman ng second month. Of course, kung may natitira ka pang mga non-cash assets, still unrealized pa sila. When you prepare for the statement of liquidation for the second month, it is still reflected. Magkano yung non-cash asset mo natitira for the second month. Yes, of course, the capital, if still there, capital na hindi pa nakukuha, magre-reflect at magre-reflect pa rin until such time na ma-settle na lahat ng obligation, maubos na lahat yung asset, na ibenta na siya lahat. So, doon pa lang matatapos yung preparation ng statement of liquidation. So, of course, every payment, no, realization, kailangan magkaroon ng mga entries. This is to recognize yung mga transaction na nangyayari. Kung yan ay every month, no, kailangan magkaroon pa rin ng journal entries or necessary entries para magawan ng mai-reflect yung changes dun sa mga accounts na involved sa liquidation.